Hello everyone. So today is a rather big day. We have just had, or Behaviour have just made their announcement for the brand new 4th anniversary chapter for Dead by Daylight, which was very exciting. So we're getting a brand new killer, a brand new map and a brand new survivor, which I will get into shortly. So for the first time this year I decided to watch the official Behaviour stream where they talk about the upcoming releases. They talk about obviously their 4th anniversary, and then they talk about the brand new killer or brand new chapter that's being released. So I've got all my notes here on it, so I thought we'd just have a talk about what was mentioned in the stream in case any of you didn't manage to catch it, what they spoke about, and then obviously we'll have a talk about the new chapter which is being released in, they said, approximately 3 weeks. Now obviously the PTB is released this evening, but unfortunately that is just for PC, and as I only have a PlayStation to game on, we can't play that, so we'll have to wait until the actual chapter is released for everyone before we are able to play it and check it out. But I'll be watching lots of streamers that have the game on PC, so I can get a good idea of, you know, what to expect, what the survivor, the killer, the new map is like, before obviously we can get on it ourselves. But first I thought I'd talk about a little bit about what else they spoke about during the stream. So the first one they spoke about was game health and the dedicated servers. So all platforms are now on dedicated servers. They are a lot better than when they first came out. Obviously we all still have our problems. They are still a bit iffy sometimes. We can experience latency issues, but they said this is one of the things they're going to be looking at. So they said they're going to be increasing server rates, so the actions of, say, a killer and survivor are more together or as close together in real time as they can be, so if that makes sense. So when a killer's swinging, sometimes obviously, like for example, if a survivor's vaulting, it seems like the killer is like a couple of meters back, when in reality the killer is actually probably a lot closer to you. But because of latency due to the dedicated servers, it comes up as the killer being miles away, and then obviously as a survivor, all survivors, we get really frustrated by this because we don't understand why we've been hit from so far back. So their idea of increasing server rate is to reduce this issue of happening, make survivors happier, make killers happier. So that's one really good thing. They also said they're going to be looking into matchmaking further, as obviously matchmaking is quite a big issue still. We're still having, you know, red ranks being matched with brown ranks and brown ranks being matched with purples, which just isn't fair, and it's not creating a good experience for new players to the game, which is, you know, what we want. We're an ever-growing community, the Dead by Daylight community. We want new people to come and experience and enjoy the game with us and find new people to play with. So matchmaking is causing a big issue at the minute, so they said that's something that they really want to have a look at, and I think they actually mentioned this in the previous patch where they updated the Doctor. They said that they wanted to make matchmaking more skill-based and make the pipping system and the reward system based on skill. So if you're a red rank survivor playing against a yellow rank killer, you will need to do more in order to pip and rank up. So they said they want to base it more on that, which I think is great. Hopefully it will make it a lot more, just a lot more fun, a lot better experience for everybody involved. I think it's really good anyway. And then sort of leading into that is they have actually announced crossplay. We have been waiting ages for crossplay. So yeah, they've said that they're looking to do 2 things. So they're looking to do cross-play and then cross-friends. So basically said, what I could gather is that cross-friends is where you can add somebody directly from another game onto your Dead by Daylight friends list. So say you met someone in Apex Legends, for example, and you got talking on the public chat and you both discovered that you both play and enjoy Dead by Daylight, you can then add that person onto your Dead by Daylight friends list and play with them like that. That's sort of what I could gather from that. It wasn't very clear, and I couldn't find the this is all in their roadmap, so it's not going to be in a patch notes yet, but that's sort of what I could gather from that, is that it will make it easier to invite people from other games onto your Dead by Daylight friends list, so obviously you get more people to play with. And then, as I said, they're looking to introduce crossplay, which is really, really exciting, because I've got one of my partner's sister, Ben's sister, plays Dead by Daylight, but she plays on the Switch, and we'd really love the opportunity to play together, but where she's on the Switch and we're on the PlayStation, we can't at the minute. So the introduction of crossplay is really, really exciting. And they were saying this should also help out with the matchmaking, because you'll have more players playing on a single server, so you know, wait times will be shorter, people will be able to be matched with their ranks more, because again there'll be more players, so there'll be more players, so you'll have more variety and more people you can be teamed up with that are a similar rank to yourself. So that should also really sort out the matchmaking problem that we're having at the minute. Now, this is being released in 2 phases, so obviously, as with most things, the PC will be getting the cross friends first. That's what they're calling the first wave. So the first wave will be PC gets cross friends, so they can try all of that out, see how that works. And then the second phase is when they'll bring cross friends to all of the consoles, so all of their platforms except for Dead by Daylight Mobile. That is the one exception. And then they'll also, in that second wave, bring crossplay as well. So that is really, really exciting. They didn't give an exact time scale for that. They just said that it's in their 2020 roadmap, so it could be, you know, it could be August, it could be December, we don't know yet, so we'll just have to keep an eye out for that. But that is something that is really exciting and something that I've been looking forward to and hoping they would announce for a while, as I'm sure many other people have been. So moving on, they also announced that they're going to be looking at some more graphical design of the game and making the graphics better. So obviously we had the rework of Leary's Memorial Hospital map a couple of months ago, and that was fantastic. The way they've done that map is so good. It looks 100 times better than what it did before. So they basically said that they want to do this for they said that they want to do this for all of the other maps, and they actually put in some examples of how they've been improving the graphics, which I'm going to insert here, as I actually managed to screenshot them from the stream. So I'm going to put them in here so you can have a look in case you didn't catch the stream. But I am so impressed. I really hope they pull this off, because it just looks 100 times better. The new Killer Shack looks absolutely awesome. Like, I'm so excited about that. That looks just on another level for Dead by Daylight. It looks so much better, and I'm really excited for the whole idea of new maps. Obviously they won't be coming out, like, we won't suddenly get a patch where every single map looks completely different. But they did say they are going to work on improving the maps and making them look so much better. Even like the new palettes, just the palettes alone look really, really good, and I think it will really help for the, you know, the horror feel of the game and making it look more premium, and keeping up with the current and ever-changing gaming market. As I think that's something really important, and I think that will draw in a lot more people to the game, so that's also really exciting. So moving on to the new chapter, I presume most of you would have heard, but they are doing Silent Hill, the horror Silent Hill, and we'll be getting a brand new map, a brand new killer, and a brand new survivor. The new killer is going to be Pyramid Head. The new map is going to be Midwich Elementary, and what I found really exciting about the map is that by the sounds of it, it's going to be sort of an indoor-outdoor map, so we're going to have a bit of variety, which is something we haven't seen yet in Dead by Daylight. We've literally just had the outdoor maps like Autohaven Wreckers, Coldwind Farm, and then the indoor maps like Hawkins, The Game, Gideon Game Plant, and Leary. So it's going to be a variety. They also said it's going to be 2 stories as well. So it does sound like it's going to be a relatively big map, which isn't like we've moved away from small maps, big maps rather, when they shrunk the size of all the maps in a previous update. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out. We don't want to go back to having a huge map again that isn't fair for the killer, because they're having to run back and forth between gens that are just... So yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how that map's going to look. It did look, the pictures they were showing, it did look really, really cool. I need to stop saying It looks really, really good, really eerie. I love the idea of having a school environment as the background, the map. Like the graphics on it look fantastic. I know it's just the teaser video, but it is a taste of what we're going to get, and hopefully with them saying that they're going to improve map graphics, we'll start to see that come into place with this brand new map. So that is really exciting. And then the survivor that we're going to be getting is... So the survivor we're going to be getting is Cheryl Mason, which is really cool, and she's going to come with 3 perks, obviously, as every survivor does. So the first perk is Soul Guard. Soul Guard, I've written this down here, which is why I keep looking down. So basically you get endurance after being healed or fully recovered from the dying state. So I presume if you're running Unbreakable, you will then get endurance from this. It also says, if cursed, you can recover from the dying state by yourself. Now, I wasn't too sure what they meant by being cursed, because obviously none of our killers that we have in the game at the minute can curse you, which is a bit strange. So it'll be interesting to watch some people play with this perk and see how that actually works. But the whole endurance after being healed or recovered from the dying state, like, is interesting. I'm not too sure what I think of it, like whether it's going to be that strong of a perk. I mean, endurance is great if like the killer's coming, but I'm not sure how that's going to work. I don't think it's going to be that strong of a perk. I think it's probably I think it's probably like second out of the 3 of how strong her perks are. So the second we've got is Blood Pact. That's her second perk, and this links you to the obsession. So if either you or the obsession is injured, if either you or the obsession are injured, you will be able to see each other's auras, which is great, because if you want to go and find someone to heal you, you'll be able to see the obsession, which is very handy, especially if you don't want to run a perk like Kindred, Empathy, or Kindred, even if there's someone on the hook. And then, so you'll be able to see the aura, and then as soon as either of you is healed, you will gain the haste effect. Now, I think this is probably the strongest of her 3 perks that she's coming with. I had to get my water because I keep choking. So yeah, back to Blood Pact. So, say you were in a chase and the obsession got healed, I presume that would mean that you would then, because they'd been healed, you would get the haste status effect. I mean, that's how I would take it. I could be wrong, but that's the way I see it. So if the obsession's injured and you're in a chase, you would then gain that haste status effect, and vice versa. So I think that could work really well. It is definitely the strongest of her 3 perks that she's coming with. And then the final perk, which is actually, I find this really interesting, so I'm quite intrigued by this. So it is called Repressed Alliance, and basically this allows her, or you as the survivor, to basically almost take a small bit of control of the entity. So it allows you to block gens. Now, I don't know I was a bit confused by this. They didn't explain a lot about it. I don't know whether that means if a killer can... No, because a killer can kick a gen if it's blocked. I'm slightly confused as to what the point of this perk is. Like, why would you need to block a gen unless it just blocks it from... Unless it blocks it from the killer being able to kick it. So the killer's coming over and you block it. But I'm not sure. I feel like I need to watch some videos on this to get a better understanding of how the perk works. If anyone else has any ideas, just drop them down below. But yeah, I'm not sure why, as a survivor, you would need to block a gen with entity spikes. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, I don't understand why you would need to do that. But it could be really good. But at the minute, I see that as the weakest of the 3 perks that she is going to come with. So moving on to Pyramid Head, his name in game is going to be the Executioner, and his special ability is going to be a range attack that can connect through collision. So I don't know if that means like as a survivor vaults, you're guaranteed to be able to hit them or what. The other thing could be if there was like a barrel stood in front of you, you could reach across it. I'm not too sure how that's going to work yet. So again, we'll have to watch that, and I'll probably, in my other Dead by Daylight videos, as I start to find out more about the killer and survivor, I'll start talking more and more about them. So then he has also got, I'm hopefully I'll be able to find a picture or two to put in here just so you guys can have a look. He carries this big axe thing, and basically he's supposed to be able to make trenches with this axe, which makes a survivor tormented, which is interesting. And then if a survivor is tormented and they're put into the dying state, so obviously he knocks them down, and instead of grabbing them, instead of like picking the survivor up and taking them to the hook, he can grab them and send the survivor to a cage of torment, which basically works exactly the same as a hook. They've said so you still get your 3 stages, but it basically is just there to save time for him. So rather than faffing about looking for a hook, or if you've got a team that's playing really toxic where they keep running in front of you, you can just put this person in a cage. Survivors can still rescue from the cage, same as the hook. It is pretty much there just to save time for the killer, I think. That's the way I see it anyway. And then also, if the survivor is on their last hook or last cage per se, the Executioner, we'll call him as that's going to be his official name, can basically do a mini Mori, so they can basically just decide to kill the survivor there and then, rather than putting them onto a hook or putting them into a cage, which I think is really interesting. It does sound a little bit overpowered. I think because of the whole cage thing, he is going to have really good map pressure, as obviously he can just put a survivor in a cage there, rather than having to go looking for a hook that could be a couple of meters away. So I do think that's quite an interesting prospect, and it could actually make him quite strong, especially if there's a team that really work as a team and stick together rather than a team that's spread out across the whole map. So then moving on to the Executioner's 3 perks. So the first one we're going to talk about is Trail of Torment. Now I think this is the weakest of his 3 perks. I'm a little bit confused about this one. So basically, with Trail of Torment, you are undetectable when kicking a generator, but as you're kicking that generator, it is then highlighted in yellow to the survivors, which almost contradicts the point of the undetectable status effect, because even though they can't hear the heartbeat, this generator pops up yellow, so it's like, oh, we can't hear the killer, but we know he's there. So it doesn't make, I don't see how that's going to help his gameplay at all, because obviously the point of undetectable is to not know where the killer is, so he's supposed to be undetectable. but if this generator pops up as yellow, then the survivors are going to know whereabouts he is. So I'm not too sure about that perk. And then you've got, I think this is how you say it, Force Penance. So this is going to be, I think, quite an interesting perk. So this makes any survivor that protects another survivor, it gives them the oblivious status effect. Now, I think this could be really interesting. I'm not sure how long the oblivious status effect is going to be for, but I, as a survivor, have definitely tried to protect another survivor before. If say I've rescued them off the hook during the end game collapse, and I'm protecting them from the killer that's trying to tunnel them, so I'll be running in front of them, or I'll take the hit for them. So I think this could be quite interesting. I think it is going to work better like during the game rather than at the end of the game, because obviously at the end of the game you're just running for the gates. You don't need to worry about whereabouts the killer is, as long as you make it. So I think that's quite interesting. And then his third perk is Deadbound. So it links a healer to a healed survivor, basically. So once a survivor has healed another survivor, if they stray too far from each other for, I presume, a set amount of time, they'll have the oblivious status effect. Now, this could work really well. You'd have to know which survivor was the... Actually, no, you wouldn't, because both of them would be oblivious, I presume. Yeah, I presume both of them would be oblivious. So I think that could actually work really, really well. Maybe with if you pair that with Nurse's Calling, so you know where they are and you can head in that direction, and then as soon as they've healed up, you'll be able to just pop out of nowhere and bang them out. So I think that could work really interesting. It sounds fairly balanced at the minute. I don't think any of his perks are going to be too overpowered. I think his special ability could be quite overpowered, but I'd have we need to see how it works first, rather than just saying, oh my god, that's so overpowered, nerf him now. We need to obviously give people a chance to play him, see what perks work well on him, and then decide whether or not he is too overpowered or not. At the minute, I don't think he sounds too bad. I mean, I presume like the trenches he makes with his sword are going to be visible. Sword? I don't know what to call it. I can't remember what they called it on stream. But I don't think he is going to be too overpowered. I think it's going to be really interesting to play against him. We haven't really had perks like this before coming with a killer. So I'm really looking forward to being able to go against him. Now, just looking at my notes, I've also forgotten one more thing that I was really excited about that they announced. So obviously the endgame collapse was brought in the last couple of years, and they were talking about how they want to do something at the beginning of the game as well, similar to the endgame collapse, but obviously not an endgame collapse because it's the beginning of the game. They didn't give too much away about this. They basically just said they are looking to create something for both killer and survivor to do at the start of the game, just to prevent the survivors from rushing onto the gem rushing, and then a gen popping within the first 30 seconds. So I think that could be really interesting, depending on what sort of idea they come up with. So yeah, as I said, they didn't give much detail, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what they decide to do with that, as I think that's a great idea. It would be great to have something additional to do in the game, both as killer and survivor, rather than just going on a gen or going around slashing people, even though that's the point of both. But I think it would be really interesting to have something to do at the start of the game as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. I've just had some Dead by Daylight playing in the background, just so you've got something to look at other than just me. Let me know what you think of the announcement of the new chapter, what you think, what you're looking forward to. They said 3 weeks until release, hopefully, fingers crossed. So hopefully in 3 weeks time we'll be able to get the DLC and play about, see what it's all about. But yeah, I'm really excited for this chapter. Here's to another year of Dead by Daylight. Here's to another many more years of Dead by Daylight. Hopefully this 4th year is the start of something really exciting. A lot of their ideas sound really, really exciting. So yeah, just drop a comment, let me know what you think, let me know what you're looking forward to, and I will see you guys all very soon.